Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
Digital Bits is a protocol layer blockchain focused on supporting consumer digital assets. This is inclusive of assets such as loyalty and reward points, branded NFTs, fan tokens, and notably branded stablecoins. Find Digital Bits on Twitter at DigitalBitsORG. Digital Bits, making the future happen today.
And welcome to the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I am your host, Big Dawg Crypto, and we have the one and only Biz. Brother, how are you doing?
Doing well, brother. How you doing? I appreciate you having me on.
Man, brother, I appreciate you coming on. I've enjoyed your account on Twitter. You tweet a lot. You tweet about a lot of different things. You've been very spot on a lot of stuff that you do tweet. What are your thoughts? I mean, I got to ask you because you saw that monster candle Bitcoin had yesterday. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm shocked, man. Even as we speak right now, Bitcoin's 40,500. It's funny how week to week things change. And I've been looking at this market, not even week to week, day to day. And last week I was on vacation in California and I'm looking, I'm trying to follow the markets and I'm just got, really terrified by the dump that we had in the stock market. And crypto as well, because I'm like, oh my God, are we going to have another, economic issue? Do we have to start now looking at the macro level? Do we got to look at equities? Do we got to look at oil? Do we got to look at this or that? That's very taxing on your time.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, essentially that ended up being the bottom. And a few days later, we saw the market recovering to the point we are right now. So pleasantly surprised, man. Listen, nobody's going to call the bottom. Well, most people are not going to call the bottom. And most people are not going to sell the top. Risk assessment is very important to me. So, rather than trying to catch fallen knives, I was able to get in, not 1,700 ETH, but closer to around 1,900 Ethereum, which I'll take.
Nice.
And we saw Elon Musk's press conference with Jack, which, we saw the pump before then, and I kind of started getting bullish around that time. I'm still in stables more than I would like to be. I am like many people waiting for a pullback because I don't think anybody expected the last 24 to 48 hours. What's gone on has been incredible. And again, long term, it's bullish for the space.
Definitely. I have to agree with that. And yeah, it was interesting because last night, watching that, at least on the Sunday night, it was like, wow. So let me ask you this though. I mean, when you talk about, your time in the space, how long have you been in crypto for?
It'll be 3 years this October. And I've not been in that long. And this past bull run, that just, ended, May, or the first leg of it that ended around May was my first bull run. I learned a lot from that. I did get PTSD from that. I still have some PTSD. Right? Listen, you don't lose. No normal human being can lose half their net worth in a matter of not have PTSD, right? Especially if you're making more money than you ever imagined. Right. I also quit my job in February. So, I'm looking at it like, holy shit, like I can't risk ever having to work for somebody again. What the things that got you here, not necessarily are going to keep you here, right? Very aggressive strategy that I use since I got into space up until now. And I'm probably only even half as aggressive as I was before. And maybe as the market gets more bullish, I'll regain, that missing edge that I had early in the year.
Yeah, but you know what? You've been to 3 years. I mean, that is OG status because the fact is there's so many new people, and there's the people buying Dogecoin and just calling you. They see it on Robinhood. You know what I mean? So 3 years, you've lived through a lot. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've even switched my stance on the meme coin, man. Live and let live. I think what started happening is in this last run, we started seeing Doge pumping more than our coins. And we're like, oh, our coins got fundamentals, and this and that. And I always say, never think rationally in an irrational market, right? And so we see
Totally.
you see the Instagram people, you see the TikTok people, and again, it's marketing genius, right? You see the safe move stuff. Whether or not you believe it's legit or not is not the point. The point is, if people are making money, man, God bless them, right? If they're making money, however they're making money, and I think as crypto purists, I know it's funny because traditional finance people, look at us as like, oh, we're degenerates, and we look at the meme coin people as degenerates, and the meme coin people, man, they're just hanging out, relaxing. They don't give a shit about anybody. They're just like, man, let me. And again, so I'm this cycle, man, I'm trying to be more relaxed, not hate on the meme coin people as much, man, because listen, man, there's money to be made for everybody.
Making money. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, but speaking of that, your history. I mean, your history is in business intelligence. What sort of, how do you sum up kind of what you did before crypto?
So I used to work with analytics, BI tools, right? My bachelor's is actually in accounting, and I was an auditor for a year. I hated accounting. I uncovered fraud at my very first client, man, and I realized this is not what I want to do, right? I don't want to be working in a field like this, and so I switched to tech, business intelligence. I love working with analytics. I love working with graphs and statistics, and I use a lot of that in my everyday life now. Not necessarily technical analysis, because I think TA is something different. So, I use business intelligence. I look at maybe bigger trends. I look at daily trends. I try to look at weekly trends. And this is all eyeballing, right? I'm trying to look at eyeballing and looking at trends, especially when I'm trying to pick a coin, gains, previous gains versus potential in the future. I used to do that a lot, right? I'm like, all right, how down is this coin? What's the all-time high? What can it do? And it sounds simple, man, but a lot of people overlook these type of analytics, right? When you're trying to figure out what you want to invest in, past performance is not necessarily an indicator of future success, but it can better help you gauge how well you think a project's going to do. Even right now, I'm looking for whatever crashed the most to give me the biggest gains, right? And
Smart.
You can't do that without having some type of analytical background.
No, there's no doubt about that. Spectre, GRP, how did you get involved with those guys?
So my guys, Bitcoin Brown, and Capo, Charlie, those guys,
Both great.
both OGs. I learned a lot from them, and Johnny Zcash as well. So, I joined them not too long after, COVID happened, actually, right? So we actually formed around peak COVID time, and Bitcoin got decimated, Ethereum got decimated, the whole market got decimated, and we remained bullish. And it's funny, it's different, being a bull when you don't have money is different being a bull when you have money, right? And so when you don't have money, I'm not hiding it. I'm it's broke, and so you have no choice but to be bullish, right? And so during that time, March 2020, like, man, I got to be bullish. I got to get people bullish, and that's all we did. And listen, our picks at that point for that year outperformed. I'll say it. Anybody's picks, they outperform the market. Again, and I'm at the level right now where I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I was very competitive before, even with my fellow gem hunters. Our game is at another level right now where we're beyond that, right? We're beyond rivalry and petty stuff like that right now. But we were calling things Rune, LCX, Cody,
I remember that. Yeah.
We were all that. We were calling so many things, even Polkadot and Kusama.
Early,
right? And it's funny, the 2021 guys, and again, you literally learn, right? And so when you're in a coin and you start talking about it and it's April, you're like, man, it's still cheap. And the market crashes. I got people in my in my mentions now, my comments, man, you showed me DOT at 50. I'm like, my man, where were you when I showed it at $3? It's not my fault that you got in the great rate.
I don't remember that sometimes.
I can't. And the thing is, I can't. It's funny because when I got into XRP at 50 cents, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm early because it was $3. Well, it went from 50 cents to 25 cents. But I'm not out here, going to Digital Asset Investors channel or one of the other YouTubers channels and blaming them. And so I think, I think a lot of people who came in 2021, and I think people like me, made it seem like this bull run's going to last the whole year. And I did, and some people thought it would be a multi-year bull run. And, you
Right.
learn from that, right? And I try to tone down my bullishness now. But what people don't realize is, man, when you're in that mode, man, you don't know. You just don't know. You just tweet it out because, that's what you feel, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, I try to hold back sometimes. You try to hold back the bullishness, but you can't, because when you see these big green candles, that's just what you feel. And so
Yeah.
we're in that mode right now again, where we're going to see overly bullish predictions. You're going to see the Bitcoin at 100K. I just saw Ron Paul, based on his analytics, based on his metrics, saying that. I mean, not that he said it, but this is what his analytics showing: Bitcoin to 250K by December 31. I mean,
Wait, of this year?
yeah, Ron Paul. That was Ron Paul tweeted today. 250K by one
Yeah,
metric.
I don't know about that. I
By
mean,
another
six figures,
metric.
I think, but yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, he's Ron Paul. He can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
But again, and I'll say it again, man. It's not necessarily, and I've said this a lot. It's not necessarily what you buy, man, is when you buy. And so I've for the most part been, and my team, we've prided ourselves finding low cap gems, right? And
Yeah.
people say, oh no, you're shilling low caps, you're shilling low you're pumping low micro caps. Well, brother, I found Rune when it was $1 million market cap, and it went to 2,000, and it went to 2,000x, right? And so you got to find them early if you want the big gains. Look, if I'm coming in this game with what, few thousand, I mean, I tell you right now, this time last year, March 2020, couple $1,000. I'm not lying. I got nothing to hide. Couple $1,000. And this is, and I had a Rune, I had Ferrum, I had few Dot and Kusama MPH, and a lot of these smaller caps did me well. And I took my profits and I put it into ETH, and thank God ETH went from 2,000 to 4,000. Now I didn't sell the top, but man, this is a hustle, man. I know you're a hustler too, like me, man. This game, man. I tell people, if you want to maximize your gains, man, the time you put into this, you will see the value.
Brother, now you are absolutely spot on, and I'll tell you right now, man, you're definitely one of those accounts that I followed you, and I was like, man, this guy's picking out gems early, and that's the thing. I think in general, when you look at people in the space, right, ones that have picked early, picked late, picked in between, you've done a really good job, in my opinion, of picking early stuff. But you just hit the nail on the head about something, is that somebody can mention a coin, right, and you mention it, let's say at $1. Then people see it at 5, then they buy it, and when it goes parabolic like at 20, and it goes down, and then they come back at you sometimes. Look, and I love the space, I love the people, but I've had that happen to me too. And they're like, man, why did you? I was like, you go back on my tweets, and I know I can see this with yours, like you said with Rune. I mean, Thorsten, you've done that too. You know what I mean? And I think, but people have to sometimes hear it a few times, right, to actually go in and do it. But you've got in there. And I know I try and do that, but you definitely do that, to do the research, to find it early, because that's where the gains are made.
And the crazy thing is, after Rune did 100x, I stopped. I made a conscious effort to stop shilling it hard, because I said, you know what, I don't have to, because I'm not trying to sell people to the top.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, listen, I got my bag. I took my profits on the way up, but they still kept pumping. It still kept pumping to the point right now I'm like, oh my God, like this thing is a monster. And again, that's an outlier, right? It's an outlier. Yeah. But what I would tell people, to anybody listening, is you got to turn your notifications on to people. And when you turn notifications on, when you see somebody, and again, and I'm telling you right now, I remember the day. I remember the exact day that I bought Rune, because I bought it when they burned 50. They burned 50% of the tokens. I did not really know what it did, but I said, I went to BitMax. I said, I'm going to buy this. And then as I saw what it did, I said, all right, I'm going to buy a little bit more. And it ended up being one of the best decisions I made. Right. Yeah. And I can tell, and I would tell people, like, listen, man, you see a tweet, you see an alert, you see somebody who leaks alpha talk about something for the first time, you can go ahead and buy it, and you can front run other people who are going to FOMO in later, and that's how you make the gains, right? That's how you make the gains. And I think people just casually go on Twitter and see what's going on, and they see me. Yeah. Like I mentioned Rune today too. That's not necessarily a buy signal. I'm bullish on it,
right?
But if you see somebody who you respect talk about something for the first time, or something that's really down, it might do well. And again, I talked about so many things. And by the way, I missed this Axie pump. And as much as I liked it, I would not. One of the things I do is I don't like to talk about things that pumped already. Number one, I got an ego thing, and I see a lot of people call it. I don't want to call it because other people called it, but it's up 2, 3, 4, 5x. And to me, I say, you know what? I'm not going to take the risk. And I try not to get people wrecked, but people are going to get wrecked anyway, right? I would rather find something that's bottom, that's nobody's talking about, that hasn't pumped.
Sure.
And that's what that's what I pride myself on. I'm trying to be early. Now, again, it's a catch-22 now, because I know some coins that are small caps that I think would do well, but I got 70,000 followers now. And so now you see this witch hunt now that big accounts can't show low caps. And this is right. And it's funny because
I don't know if I agree with that.
right. Because what happens is you're the big account, you show the 1, 2, 3, $5 million market cap coin. Then when it pumps, people are like, oh, it only pumped because you pumped it.
Right.
But then what happened? What happened was 1 year later when it does 100x, right? So it's that catch-22 where, and again, I can buy it, but I'm telling you, man, it's a different feeling. And I think a lot of people like me and my guys, man, like we just like to be first. We just like to call it, right? And it's not about the money, man. It's the adrenaline, it's the drive, it's the passion to try to be the best. Which I won't lie to you, it's not the same that it was before. Because once you make money, right, then you have other goals. And I mean, I'm moving differently now. I'm trying to do bigger things rather than just being a gem hunter. But I want to still educate, right? And I do voice chats on my Telegram. I've done a Twitter Spaces with people. I try to leak out for as much as I can, share knowledge with people. And I think that's the next level. And I think, honestly, sharing knowledge is just as important as picking gems. I've had people tell me that based on the knowledge, not necessarily the picks, but based on the advice I've given them, they've been able to make gains. And I think that's, that's probably the most, probably the best thing I've done in the space, even more so than calling 100 or 1,000x, is educating people so that they can make the decisions on their own.
You know what, brother? I absolutely agree with you, because I always say, without a doubt, because people sometimes ask me, well, how do I learn more about the space, this and that? I say, look, get on crypto Twitter, follow good accounts, follow accounts that tell you things straight, right? That basically give you good information, watch videos, listen to podcasts. You have to absorb information. Don't think you're just going to come in and just, pick out something because you saw somebody, right, recommend it and expect to do well. You've got to put in the work and do the research. I mean, that's important.
And you got to, and again, like I've been seeing so many people just like, put the blame on, this guy told me this guy told me that. And listen, if I called, and I called my share of bad picks, and if I pick something bad, I'll tell you straight up. I will tell you, like, hey, that's a bad pick. It hasn't done well. You might need to wait longer, because listen, this is, and this is the key thing here. This is a high volume game, meaning if you have 10 picks,
right,
7 or 8 of them could go to 0. But if you got 1 or 2 that have done really well, you're gonna make it, right? And I use the baseball analogy, right? Because I think baseball is the best symbolism for life, right? Because in life we're gonna fail more times than we succeed, right? In baseball, you get 1 hit out of every 3 at bats. You go into the Hall of Fame, right? And you're considered an elite hitter. And so I think, if you try to get 1 out of 3, even 1 out of 4 picks right, I think you'll do well. Because if you got $1,000 and your $1,000, the coin can't go lower than 0, right? And so if you got $1,000 into 1, and that one, 1 goes to 0, and the other one does a 10x, you made $9,000. And so that's why I tell people, this is a high. You got to keep picking. You got to keep investing, because honestly, and again, that's what happened to me. I got my confidence from a few good picks. Now, trust me, I've gotten it. Here, many crappy picks, and I'm still going to get many crappy picks. But you got to keep going.
You keep at it.
You got to keep at it, man. This is what you do, because again, you don't know which one's going to be the one to hit.
Well, speaking of that, so, there's been a lot of experiences. What would you say is, and it's going to be hard to say what's the craziest, but when you look back at, the meme coins, the food coins, all the other stuff, what would you say is like just the craziest experience in crypto in the past couple of years that kind of surprised you? Like, I can't believe, what I mean? Like this
it was probably me on Crypto Banter Ranuna's show talking to Charles Hoskinson, right? Because, again, say whatever you want to say, right? Charles Hoskinson is a top 10 person in the space. Now I'm a cartoon character, right? And so you got, I'm and I don't know where Rand was thinking, but it's funny because that was probably one of his best rated shows, and that I would say that he would probably agree that helped put his show on the map. But the fact that a guy like me, and again, I'm from New York, man. I don't pull my punches. It's a different mentality. I show respect is shown, but I went on.
I like that.
But,
I like that.
But when I went on with Charles, I think Charles might have been taken aback because I was so blunt, and I didn't disrespect him, but I made some jokes, and I think that got him heated and stuff, and I think Rand kept having to mute me because I think Rand was probably scared. This guy's gonna control Charles Hoskinson.
Right.
And that was surreal for me. It was surreal for me because I'm talking to Charles Hoskinson. I'm going barb for barb from him. And again, like he's one of the people who's again hate it or love it, whatever it is. And I don't hate, and I have hate for any man.
You're just very straightforward, blunt person. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I think it's
again,
like people know that you tell it like it is.
And again, people think I hate. First of all, I don't have hate for any man. Any man that's not trying to come after me or my family or the way I make my money. I got no hate for him. But it's sort of a rivalry. And again, even with the Cardano people, I make a lot of jokes on Twitter and stuff. But that was, to me, it was so eye opening. The reach that got, like, oh my God, like this guy's going up against Charles Hoskinson. Just to interact with people like that. In the space, it's real, especially on crypto Twitter and other people like that as well. To the Raoul Pauls of the world, the different personalities and characters.
So we have a lot of them. We have a lot of them. Yeah.
We have a lot of them because listen, in the real world, we're confined to. Let's keep it real. We are all confined to our socioeconomic status, right? If I'm making If I'm earning $40,000, $50,000 a year, if I'm the average American, I'm not going to have the chance to interact with somebody who's in a higher class than me, unless I go to an event or unless I do something crazy. Let alone being able to have a debate with somebody like that, right? It's not possible.
It's interesting you say that. You're totally right, because crypto Twitter especially, that puts all of us really on the same playing field. I mean, there's no doubt you could have somebody who's a multi-billionaire and then somebody that's got $10 living, like that, and you're having a conversation. You don't have that in the real world. You know what I mean? So no, I think you're spot on that.
No, you don't. And again, I mean, your race.
It's really cool though. Like it's awesome. Yeah.
Crypto Twitter does not care about your race, religion, your creed, your gender. Nah. Whatever you are, I think as long as you provide content, people will respect you, and that's what we've seen. And I think honestly, it's the closest thing to a utopian society.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, right? Look, you got Teen Executive, man. God bless him. He's a kid.
Yeah,
he's trying to make a name for himself. Matt, if in the real world, we would say, oh, this guy's going to get his 15 minutes of fame, but he's getting respectability, and he should get respectability, right? What does it matter, honestly? What does it matter that he's 15 or if he's 50, if he's providing content that people provide valuable and education?
And that goes to the accounts, Dawg on Twitter, right? I'm a dog, whatever. Person. Look, I follow accounts. I could care less what the account is or who it is. If that account like yours, I follow you because you provide good information. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like, I think with anything, that's what you want. And there's no doubt that, I think getting on crypto Twitter, like, at least for me personally, like I've kind of like the other social media is kind of like not paying as much attention to. It's like a whole nother world, but it's one I feel very comfortable in because you get in, you're with like-minded people. We're from all over the world. We all bring different viewpoints, but it's a shared solid goal. You know what I mean? Of how we view the way that blockchain helps stuff. You know what I mean? So no, it's definitely a good vibe. And I think if, like I say, we're very loyal. If you're defending someone, somebody in crypto Twitter gets attacked by somebody from the other system, you know what I mean? Like we're there in defense, like hardcore.
We don't care. We don't care how much we hate the person if they say something against, because it is, it's a fraternity, right? It
really is.
And it's crazy. We're still a niche community, especially in the crypto Twitter verse that me and you are in. There's different, levels of crypto Twitter, and there's also like the mainstream, and then there's the NFT Twitter, and then there's all these other things that that you can dive into. But man, I think when you look at the traditional world, most people look for crypto Twitter as advice on how to perhaps better their lives. Does that mean quitting your job? Does that mean buying a car? Does that mean paying an expense? Whatever that is for you. I think crypto Twitter. I think that's what crypto Twitter represents, right? And I'm all for.
No, I agree.
and I'm all for technology. But I think people need to stop being, and many people are ashamed. Like, yeah, you got in for the money. I got in for the money. I got in it for a better life. But I'm staying for the technology, right?
Yeah.
I'm staying for technology. And that's
I
again,
think it all comes. I think that's true because look. The thing about like a win-win, right? Sometimes people say that's like, oh, that's BS. No, I think it's a win-win. You find a way to make money and it's something that is bettering society and can help and solve a lot of ills. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's wrong with that? You know what I mean?
No,
it is a win-win. Hell yeah.
It is a win-win. It's funny because I think people see. I see this a lot. I see people say, well, if, not to me, to other people, or if you got so much money, why are you still on Twitter? Why are you still tweeting? I'm like, this is a luxury, man.
Because you enjoy
Like,
it. Yeah.
to be, can you imagine just for a living, just, obviously other than buying and trading, just being on Twitter all the time and enjoying it, enjoying people's viewpoints, even if you disagree with them, right? It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with them. And just juxtapose that with sitting in office for 9 to 5 and doing something that you see has no meaning in your life.
Not interacting, interesting. Yeah.
Not interacting, interesting. And I think honestly, man, like I truly hope everybody that gets into this space is able to do something. And then if it's not, even if it's not quitting your job, at least doing something meaningful, meaning like pay off an expense, pay off your house, man. If you can pay off your house, man, God bless you, man. Because I think there is an opportunity for people, but I'll say it again, like the timing is very important. And I feel for the people, and I got a lot of followers, man. And I look at their profiles. Every time I look at a salty comment, March 2021, April 2021, May 2021. And listen, they're human beings. And again, they're human beings, they're entitled to that. But I hope, and I joke, reply guys, but I hope that they're able to get into this, what looks to be the second run. And I hope they're able to make gains that impact their life in a meaningful way. And then they can contribute to the space. Because honestly, it's easier to care about the tech once you got money. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, sure. No, there's no question about that. But I mean, that's a good way to look at it, brother. That absolutely is. Polkadot, let me ask you this, because you're talking about early with Cardano and Polkadot. I know you are a Polkadot fan, supporter. You like them. I do like Polkadot. I think it's got a lot of potential. Currently at about $15. Do you want to give a price target end of the year?
Man, I said beginning of the year, I thought 100 would be conservative, would be really good target. We had 50, and it's crazy when you get 50, you're like, oh, man, 2x is nothing. We're in May, man. We're up to $50 already, right? I would have killed for 50 in January when it was maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it was. I would have killed for $50 end of the year. Then I'm like, oh, we got $50 at the beginning of the year. So $50 middle of the year. So right now, man, target, man, honestly, if we stay bullish, I could see us getting back to 40 to 40s if we stay bullish. I mean, again, it all depends on what Ethereum does.
I think so.
Yeah,
I can see that.
If Ethereum goes to 4,000 again, then we'll probably see 35, I think 30, 35, 40 lot Polkadot. I think Link and Dot are two of my favorites. I think they'll do well if Ethereum does well. But yeah, man, I love Polkadot primarily because, Gavin Wood saw the deficiencies in Ethereum and he decided to create Polkadot, which, hey, listen, it's the number one coin held by hedge funds.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, institutions love Polkadot. There's no question about that. If they're accumulating it, and I know they're doing it for a reason.
And listen, it got killed, and it got killed. I remember, 50 to I think 10 was as low as it got, right? And it got decimated. It got decimated most than other things. But if you're asking me, what do I feel like is going to be here 2-3 years from now? Polkadot's going to be here. There is, and I would say this, and people will quote me on this. There is really no way Polkadot's going to fail. And Raoul Paul said this, and he would ask, Ranu asked him about coins he's invested in. He said, "Listen, I know these coins, and I know there's a lot of coins. I don't know a lot of the particulars." And he made a point to say that, but I do know Polkadot has big time backing, right? And for a guy to be in tune with that tells me something. And listen, money talks, and they got a lot of big time backers. Parachain auctions are coming up for Polkadot as well. That's going to be a big narrative. But I think the future is bright for Polkadot. I'm going to be loading up on more pretty soon. I'm actually waiting for a dip in the current market conditions. But I'm going to be buying a ton more Polkadot because I know that, again, long term it'll give me the closest things to what 2017 Ethereum did for people.
It's interesting you say that because I just saw the thing about the institutions accumulating it so much, and it's like the other day I was kind of paying a little more attention to that, and I'm like, wow, that's that shows the direction they see it going in price wise. No question about that. Yeah. Well, do you? Let me ask you this. Speaking of that, talking about Raoul Pal and his 250 Bitcoin prediction, what do you see Bitcoin hitting before the end of this year, 2021?
Man, it's funny with me, man. I'm so emotionally unattached to Bitcoin because I've only ever bought Bitcoin once, and that was when it crashed to 3,000, and I sold it. I sold it like a little bit later. Bitcoin price predictions. If we say,
I know there's a kind of, I mean, I'm always interested in what people think.
It's funny. We human psychology is we love round numbers, right?
Right.
We say 100,000, but why not? Why can't it top out at 86.5, right? But if I
agree with you,
right?
Yeah.
I'll probably say I'll say around $90,000 into the year because I think the people waiting for 100. I think the small ones will probably sell before then. I'll say 90,000. It's funny, when I was looking at Ethereum, and this is crazy. My cash out, like mine's like cash out, not necessarily walk away, but cash out. I'm good. This I can do what I want my life. For Ethereum was going to be around I was targeting 5,000, and this is a lesson for people because I got greedy, because I got euphoric. With that few $100 led me to losing half of everything I had, right? And essentially, and I think the way I tell myself now is I'm not trying to get back to all-time high. I don't want to put that pressure on myself. And I think, guys, if you listen, don't do that to yourself. Like, just try to figure out what the best way for you to make money in this situation. Tell yourself right now, whatever money you got, it's a clean slate. Don't look at, if I sold the bottom, if I bought the top, this is a clean slate. There's a clean run. Tell yourself, this is the exact same thing I told myself last August. If you remember when we crashed, when we had that first crash in August, I reallocated my portfolio. This time around, I'm looking to maybe get into some newer things as well. I've been looking into Luna. I'm extremely bullish on Luna. My guy Johnny Zcash is early on Luna. Bullish on the Tero ecosystem, man. I'm looking into that. Maybe even some FTX. Like my boy Capo has been telling me to get into FTT token. I mean, treat this cycle as a brand new cycle. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm not going to look at what everything was before. I'm going to look at what it can be. That's the best thing you can do.
Solid advice. That being said, you just mentioned a couple of accounts that we both know that are real good ones. I always try and, with new people listening to this, coming to the space, what are a few accounts on crypto Twitter that, if somebody asks you, because I'm sure I get to ask this all the time, hey, what are a few accounts that somebody new should follow to just get real, no BS, straightforward advice?
I mean, I obviously I've been remiss if I didn't say Capo. I am Luciana on Twitter. It's funny. He, for whatever reason, man, early on he believed in me. He saw potential. He knew, and I was lacking confidence early on. I'm like, man, I can't, do this stuff. He's like, nah, man, go tweet about this X, Y, and Z. The man spoon fed me picks, early on. Like, hey, man, I think you can talk about this, and that. And so there would be no biz without him. Bitcoin Brown's another one. Like, he's Bitcoin
great,
Brown, amazing. And Johnny Zcash, which again, from Spectre standpoint, probably the smartest guy when it comes from technical standpoint. Again, the man was, and we're talking about Polkadot. The man was early on several Polkadot. It's funny. A lot of I'm a team player, man. I'm not anything. I ain't nothing without my team, man. My team, these guys, carried me. They helped me. They helped build up my confidence, helped build up, what the picks I'm talking about. And so Johnny Zcash was an early guy with me and Thorchain as well. Fundamentally is as sound as anybody. So those guys, Johnny Zcash, Bitcoin Brown, I am Luciana. Those guys, extremely, extremely important. And so, I think I don't follow a lot of people. I like to keep my crypto Twitter circle small, just because it's hard to filter out the noise. And I don't, by the way, and I don't follow a lot of Polkadot maxes either. I don't want my feed. Listen, I already got Polkadot. I don't need I don't need.
You're not looking for an echo chamber. Yeah.
I don't need the circle jerk of Polkadot, but I do follow a lot of Ethereum guys who would point out flaws in the bags that I might have. Right? I might follow some other guys who are going to point, hey, this X, Y, and Z is happening. This is what's possible. And so again, who you follow is extremely important, guys. You got to have a good circle on crypto Twitter. Don't be following 50,000 guys, man. You're going to mess up your feed and you're going to miss out on the alpha.
I got to totally agree with you. And I had somebody from a previous podcast that said that one of my guests had named some accounts. They went and looked them up, and he was like, man, that kind of helped me. So, I suggest the accounts, everyone you just mentioned, look them up, look at the profiles, follow them all. Because everyone you mentioned is very solid, and I agree with you. I mean, you have to have different people in your circle, the ones you're following. Like I always say, look, get different viewpoints, right? Listen to different things, research, make your own decision, right? But don't just go with somebody that says, because it's easy to get the confirmation bias, whatever it is. Like, oh yeah, also like you said, if you followed 1,000 Polkadot people, they're going to tell you it's great. You already know it's great, right? You want to hear what other people say to kind of make you better as you go forward. You just hit the nail on the head. That to me is so freaking important in this space for people to be better educated and make better decisions.
Yeah. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm looking into Luna, because I'm like, I've
been hearing about that a lot recently, actually. Yeah.
I have not looked into a new ecosystem in a while, right? And obviously that doesn't mean I'm going to abandon my Polkadot position, but if I have other positions that I maybe, or if I have some fiat on the side that I want to use, I'm looking into another ecosystem, a viable ecosystem that's been doing well, not just price wise, but they're making advancements. I'm definitely gonna look into that. Again, Cosmos is another one. I'm a big Thorchain guy. I like Thorchain, I like SwiftChain. Cosmos is another one, and then you have Solana, right? And again, Solana, that's another ecosystem. So these are the types of coins that I want to be looking into more and more, because you have to constantly evolve, man. Again, you have to find new trends, and also to keep myself fresh, right? I want to be learning and talking, and I want to be reading up on new things that motivate me, that give me that dopamine hit that I need.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's brother, that's the way to do it. Well, yeah, I could tell you, man, you're one of the, and I'll just share with you. I mean, this is 100% serious. I have my notifications turned on for about 10 accounts, and you're one of them. So. Oh, man. But the reason why I have it is because you had good calls.
My apologies for that. Listen, honestly, and it's the call it's and I
just call it information. You know what I mean? Like usually you have good things to say, and I want to see that.
It's so funny. It's so hard now to come up with gems, because or it was at one point, because the market pumped so much, and then you're like looking like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And so I this dump, I'm hoping now that we're, the dump gave people a chance to accumulate, to buy some of these gems or buy new gems, and because honestly it was such a limbo period for me that I just started shit posting, because because really, I mean, and I got people, I got a guy yesterday, hey man, like, give me some gems. I'm like, bro, honestly, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. I got no shame to say it. I'm still like half in stables. I'm not 100% back in from any of these things now, right? And so like, I can't be given any. Listen, if people found Axie, man, God bless you, man. But that was one, and some NFT plays pumped, but I was not willing to risk me tweeting something with 70,000 followers and getting people wrecked, right? And again, I've done this my whole 3 years. I played extremely safe. If I don't find something that I think is undervalued, I won't tweet about it, no matter how good I think something is. It's just something that I don't do.
I think that's good. Well, let me ask you, brother. So, how do people find you? I mean, I'm looking at your account, but let me let you tell them, how do people find you on Twitter?
I'm at ADOUBLE212 at Twitter. You can find me there. I'm also part of the Spectre Telegram group. You can look at my profile. I believe there's a link to the Spectre Telegram channel, and also Spectre account. And right now, man, I'm focusing more on educating people. I do AMAs, man. I'm the best at AMAs, by the way. Nobody touched me on that.
Cool.
I'll say that right now.
I can believe it. Yeah.
You know, y'all could talk about anything y'all want, but my team and I, we changed the AMA game, giving people out $1,000 of our own money. People don't realize how much do you charge for AMAs. Never charge, my man. Never charge. I might start charging now because I'm looking at it. It looks pretty stupid that I didn't charge any money. But we did it for free. We did it for free. It's funny. We did it for free. And then that for competitive advantage, giving out people $1,000. You know, we're gonna do more AMAs with projects. And the beauty of it is, man, the best questions always come from the community, man. I love the community, man. Projects always tell me, man, your guys' AMAs were the best. And I say, it's not the questions I came up with. I asked you the generic ones. When we open up to the community, man, hardcore educated community, you know, we incentivize them. We reward them. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, and I have a Telegram. You know, we're on Telegram, and my Spectre Telegram chat that has about 25,000 people now. You know, we want to keep growing. And yeah, man, you know, and if you're in my DM's open, man. If you DM me, man, I'll do my best to get back to you, man. I do talk to people. I do DM people, more than most people will, because you know, if I showed you something that direct and you DM me about it, man, I will tell you, shit, man, I messed up. Or if you have some advice for me, man, I'll do my best to advise you, man. I'm not a shady person. I'll own up to the mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I made mistakes, man. I made plenty of mistakes in this bull run. Some things that I thought would do well that didn't do well. And I'll own up to it. And I'm going to learn from it this next cycle.
Well, much respect for being accessible. I think that's very, very cool. Brother, look, I want to thank you, man. Like I said, I've always enjoyed your content, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. You know, this is my first 10 episodes. So, man, you'll be down in history as one of the first 10.
Man. first of many, man. It's going to be legendary, man.
Brother, I hope so, man. I'm working at it, but I appreciate it, man. Look, thank you so much for being on. I definitely appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
All right. This is the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I want to thank Biz, my newest guest. I appreciate it. And of course, check him out on Twitter at A212. He is the man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.